There comes a point when you realize that walking away isn't always giving up. Sometimes, it's the first time you finally chose yourself. Maybe you've spent months trying to fix something, a friendship, a relationship, a job, a situation you were convinced would eventually get better. So you stayed, you tried harder, you explained yourself one more time, you gave another chance, and then another. Because somewhere along the way, you started believing that leaving meant you'd failed. But what if staying is the thing that's costing you? What if the energy you're spending trying to hold everything together is the very thing that's slowly pulling you apart? We don't talk about that enough. We're often told not to give up, to fight for what matters, to keep trying. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need to hear. But perseverance isn't measured by how long you're willing to suffer. And strength isn't proven by how much you're prepared to tolerate. Sometimes strength looks very different. Sometimes strength is being able to look at something you desperately wanted to work and admit that it doesn't. That doesn't erase the effort you gave. It doesn't make the good moments meaningless, and it certainly doesn't make you a failure. It simply means you've reached the point where the lesson matters more than the outcome. And perhaps that's the hardest part. Because walking away doesn't always happen when you stop caring. Sometimes you still care deeply. Sometimes you still remember how good things once were. Sometimes part of you still wishes things could have been different. But eventually you realize you cannot build your future around the potential of what something could become. You have to look at what it actually is, not what it was, not what you hoped it would be, not what somebody promised it could become. What it is. And when you finally see that clearly, something changes. You stop asking, how can I make this work? And start asking, what is staying here costing me? Your confidence, your energy, your happiness, your time, your sense of who you are? Because those things have value too, and choosing them doesn't make you selfish. It means you finally included yourself in the decision. You don't need anger to move forward. You don't need revenge. You don't need somebody else to admit they were wrong. And you don't need the perfect ending. Sometimes closure isn't something another person gives you. Sometimes closure is the decision you make when you've finally heard enough, seen enough, and tried enough. And then you stop knocking on the same door. You stop waiting for a different answer. You stop trying to convince yourself that tomorrow will somehow make yesterday make sense. And you walk, not because none of it mattered, but because you matter too. So if you're standing at that crossroads right now, don't judge yourself for how long it took you to get there. Maybe you needed those experiences. Maybe you needed those lessons. Maybe you needed to know that you genuinely tried before you could leave without wondering what if. Take what the experience taught you. Keep the memories that deserve to be kept. Leave behind what no longer belongs in your life. And remember, you are allowed to close a chapter without regretting the pages that came before it. You don't have to hate what you're leaving. You don't have to pretend it never mattered. You simply have to recognize when it's time. And when that moment comes, turn the page.